After you transfer to me, you can, yeah, you're recording now. There you go.
Yeah. And, okay, give me 1 second, because this menu here is a little funky.
All the way down to the bottom, just pass hosting to me.
Give me a sec, yeah. Okay, all right. All right, again, as I'm doing this, welcome everybody. You're at the VIP webinar, and I'm going to hand this off to Bill in a sec here. So, okay, make you the host, Bill.
Okay.
And I think I have to let you take control of the screen as well.
Yep, I can do. You can see me now on your screen, right? I'm ready to go here. So.
Okay. So can you?
It's me. It's not my evil twin. And so what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and share the screen, because looking at me is not nearly as important as.
Great.
Yeah, I think you can see a screen now. It says you influence, and right?
Yep.
And people will pay and all that sort of thing. Is that what you can see? I want to make sure everybody's looking at before I start talking and about something you can't see.
Yeah, we can. Can you hear me, Bill?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can. I can see a screen, so I think everybody.
All right, here we go. So this is I want to respect everybody's time. Talking about very influential persons, how to become an influential person, what are the steps to becoming an influential person, and specifically today dealing with websites. But I wanted to give you a very raw picture of things that are going through my head. In other words, this is uncharacteristic. This is not a super polished presentation. I didn't even polish it all, for that matter. So I've got you right here in my Google Docs that I've created, and I've begun to create a list of how people's lives change when they're influenced, or when they become influential. There's a transition that goes on if these things don't appeal to you, or if this is not in your area of interest, it's on the wrong webinar. So here's a very comprehensive list, not comprehensive, it's a very working list. And you don't have to worry about remembering it, because you'll get the recording, you can come back and watch it again. But if you were to become an influencer, these are some of the things that you will be able to do. You can influence buying action. You can influence purchasing decisions of people. People pay you for your influence. People say, wow, look how this big following you have. Can I pay you to put a link on your site? Can I pay you to tweet to your audience for me? When you become an influencer, you become a speaker. I'm going back to Shanghai later in this year. I've been here twice so far this year. And when I knew I was going to Shanghai, I reached out to a couple of universities. One of China's top 5 universities, think MIT, Columbia, Harvard, Yale, Stanford. And that group in the China world, they said, well, if you're coming here, we'd like you to speak at our university. So I have a 6-hour course in their EMBA program. You become a consultant. I've been working with Dannon Yogurt. I'm working with Nestle in China, among others. You get paid to travel. Somebody's flying me to Johannesburg later this year. You get paid to attend conferences. So, wow, Bill, if you know this, we want you to go to this conference. You get asked to participate in online spaces. You start appearing on conference panels and all that sort of thing. You get paid to do reviews. If it weren't me, I wouldn't believe it. And I'm not a swearing person, but if I did swear, I got paid to drive a $99,000 Jaguar. I was so scared to drive the thing because I was afraid I was going to wreck it. But they said, don't worry about it, you got insurance. After they took that away, they brought me a $55,000 Land Rover. I called them up and said, can I take this up into the mountains? They said, yeah, you sure can, but we prefer you did it. So you get paid to do reviews, you get advances on books, you get paid for what you know. I don't know how old everybody on this webinar is, but at my age, I don't want to work as hard as I used to. I would rather get paid for the work I've done or what I've known, and that happens when you have this kind of influence that you've been able to establish online. You have a tangible, you have a palatable mojo, where people, you earn respect, and it's actually been earned, and people give you that deference. All of these things, of course, can be monetized, and you become a conduit to other influencers. So, of course you do. If you have influence and there are other influencers, these kind of people hang out together. And then those other people who have their influence and their network, they want to do business with you because you have your influence in your network, and you get to hang out in that sort of world. And your reach grows tremendously. Suppose you had 1,000 very, very real Twitter followers, and those 1,000 Twitter followers each had 10,000 or 1,000 Twitter followers. What's 1,000 times 1,000? That's a big number. It's 1,000,000. And then people begin to seek you out rather than you seek them. So it's not. It doesn't matter anymore who you know. What matters is who knows you. And beyond that, what really matters is who knows the people that know you. So this is what I think happens when you get into the very influential person mode. And it's entirely doable. It's not easy, but it's not ridiculously hard. It's just a matter of putting your head down and going to work. And so I want to show you a couple of case studies. Today, it's all about online presence. You put up your website, go to work on your website, do some work on your website, and then people begin to find you. And so I will give you a very simple formula. I'm going to show you a couple of my students who have done this. And but before I go that, again, in the interest of being raw, being transparent, being vulnerable, just trying to show you where I am in the whole thinking process. This topic has come up in the recent couple months or so. I started off blogging a long time ago, and I did pretty good at it. I got lots of people show up, and when that happens, people say, "Well, Bill, how did you do that?" And that question keeps coming up more and more. Bill, how did you do that? How did you do this? So that's my impetus here for starting to put all these thoughts together in one webinar in one place, and begin to create a list of people. So, well, if I were to be able to do what you do, Bill, what would happen in my life? That's this list. Another thing I've done, and this is a very long list, but you don't have to remember it. Just remember to watch the webinar later on. And then there's a link I put into a forum here. The forum's free. There's no advertisements, and I have a working list of 51 characteristics of a real influencer. This is what I think a real influencer looks like. And in there, I contrast that with what some other people think. Like people say, well, let's use this trigger to influence people. Well, see, triggers will influence people, but is it really influence if you're just trying to trigger them? Well, you can argue that however you like, but there's a very long list of what I think real influencers look like. And what's really cool about this list, I think, is that they're all learnable. And you're not going to read the list and go out tomorrow and start doing them. But here are 51 things I could start working on in my life that if I were to be like this, then I'd be in the influence world. So that's the list I put up there for you. And here again, this is how your life might change were you to become an influencer. But fundamental to this happening is you need a good website. You put up a website, get online, and start establishing yourself as a person that people want to come to. I mean, well, if you have no credibility, if you have no authority, then why would people care about you? And so how to do that? How do I get online? How do I get people to search me out? How do I get people to find me? How do I get people to ask me to do any one or some combination of these 19 things? And so I want to show you some of my students, the results of some of my students. And I've already got Google Analytics. I'm logged in here. If you look up there, it's WC Belew, that's me. So I'm going to try and show you this live because for me, it's more powerful if you can actually see it rather than me tell you about it. And so a couple of years ago, it's not quite 2 years ago, I taught a class at a university MBA program downtown San Jose, and I gathered a bunch of students. I actually went to the university, physically knocked on the door, said, "Hey, can I teach a class here?" I just want to prove to you that if people work like this, do this kind of updates on their websites, more people will come. And you don't have to pay me. I said, I'll do it for free. I just want to do a little bit of research and prove to you that it worked. Well, they thought I was nuts and decided to pay me anyway. But they gave me a whole busload of students that I could just yell at and say, hey, do what I tell you, I'm going to give you now. And some of them did it. And we could see their results. So, and the reason I want to show you these students, because here's something that's absolutely critical to understand is they were writing in their second language. So they're not super, prolific. I mean, not prolific. They're not super polished writers. They're just students. They're 25, 28, MBA student age, and they're writing in their second language in the second culture. And they also built their websites on the black and white default template. They didn't pay any money to get online. They didn't pay. They paid $9.99 for a domain name, and then they paid $5 a month, which was the going rate at the time, for their hosting. It was self-hosted. They paid $5 a month, and then they paid $10 for a year. So 5 times 60 is 12 plus 10, $70 is all it cost them to have this online presence. And then they installed WordPress. That was free. And they built it on the black and white default template. They didn't throw thousands of dollars or even hundreds of dollars at their website. They just went to work on the free version. And we were still able to get results, which begs the question, what if we had actually built something really, really cool? Well, that's beyond the scope of what's going on here. But what I want to show you is these students did what I told them to do, and here's some of the results. This is Chaya. Each of these students picked their own niche. I didn't say, hey, write about this, because I knew they would get better results. I said, you choose whatever it is you want to write about. And so she wrote about travel, and she's from Nepal. And here's her results. Let's go. Up. Look at that. You can see here, it's black, it's a flat line, it's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, because the site did not exist. And so we launched it right here around the beginning of February, and she went to work for a couple months. The course ends right around here, May. And at this point, she's thinking, look at all this work I did, and I didn't get any results. Blue must be an idiot, but off it went. So in the course of March, April, May, June, July, in about 4 months, she's had 29,000 page views, 17,000 visitors. Wow! And now let me scroll down here and show you where these people are coming from. Go all traffic. We go to the source. And they're coming organically. 11,000 people came looking for her. They came from Google.com, Google India, Google Nepal. People came looking for her website. All she did was put her head down and go to work doing what I told her to do. And she got results. It's the same. Let me see if I can show you another student. Back up. Let me show you another student. This is Jeannie. She writes about health, nutrition, and there it is. 6 months out, 43,000 page views, 18,000 users. I can explain these numbers here. This is her Facebook. She started off saying, hey, Facebook friends, come see me. But what happens is after a while, it just kind of falls down. We call that Facebook fatigue. That's when you wear out your friends. But she built her website on the black and white default template again, and after 3 or 4 months, off it goes. When you do what I tell you to do, you can build a following, and we go to traffic, we go to source and medium, find out where these people come from. They're coming from organic traffic. They come from India, they come from here. On my website, the UK, look at it, from Google UK, Yahoo Organic, Google Canada. People are coming to find her. You see, when you build an online presence and you do it right and you do it well, people will come looking for you. And when they come looking for you, they start asking you to do these things. Because, wow, I've been searching for this answer to this problem, and you were there and you provided that for them. you can influence me because you solved my problems. Can you help me? Okay. I think I got a couple more here. I'll show you one more. I don't want to overwhelm you here, and I want to be able to save a little bit of time for some questions here. So that was Chaya did travel. Jeannie did health and nutrition. Salmi, she did health and nutrition. Here, social media buff. See, the number is not as big, but she wrote about technology. And look at that. Dead. Nothing existed. Off she goes. 3-4 months out, it starts growing. Wow, look at that. Didn't grow great numbers, but you can see obviously that it's growing. 7,000 users, 12,000 page views. And let's see, where did they come from? I hope it's organic, otherwise I'm going to be embarrassed. Look at that, organic. Facebook referrals, Google, India, right? Google.com referrals like images and that sort of thing. France, Deutsch, Germany. All she did was build her website, put it online, again, black and white, default template, just pounding away, creating good content. What does that look like? I'll tell you here in a moment. And people came looking for her. She became an influential person. So there's a formula that I promised that I would give to you. And I got it over here. I wrote up here just so you can go back and read this. The formula is it's 5 very basic steps. Storytelling, quantity, quality, consistency, and longevity. The strategy is very easy to understand. It's not as easy to implement because you have to work at it, but it's not rocket science. It's just a matter of putting your head down and doing it. I cannot crawl into your skin and do it for you, or then I'd be influential and you wouldn't. But the beauty of, knowing how do I want to say, knowing how to do this is one thing. Doing it is another thing. The know-how is very powerful. And I don't mind telling you how to do everything I know how to do, because you still have to do it. And there's another intangible that doesn't come automatically, and that's finding other people to do it with. In the case of my students, in this particular place, these students were hanging out with other students, more or less on the same page, but different niches. When you're able to get into a room or into a network of like-minded people doing the same thing, you got tremendous power there. Now, you can do it all by yourself. It just takes a lot longer, but hanging out with other people, and I will solve that problem for you too, although I'm not going to solve it right here, right now. So hanging out with other people will allow you to achieve the results, and then having the know-how will allow you to do it, but also having the discipline of applying yourself day after day, being accountable, and doing the work will get you the results. But the formula is quite simple. The formula is this: it's storytelling. Tell people that you want to serve. Who's your demographic? Who's your target audience? Make a list of who these people are. Make another list of what it is they want. Who are the people that you want to serve? Who are the people that would be interested in what you know? What is it that they want? What are the problems that they are facing? What are the obstacles that they have? And how can you solve that problem for them? What is the solution that you provide? And with that solution, what happens in their life after they've applied it? So you have a demographic, right? And they have desires, and they face obstacles, but you provide solutions. And when you provide solutions, they have results come out in their life, and you can do this in whatever location. There are different locations. It might be in Hawaii, it might be in Indonesia. And you can provide these solutions in these different locations. Tell stories to people that are interested in your topic. Address the desires that they want in their life. Address the obstacles that they're facing and how they might be overcome. Provide the solutions for them. And when they provide that solution for them, there's a result that comes out in their life. Like I explained, these 19 things that might happen in your life if you became influential. And then tell them where this can happen. Tell that story on your website just as often as you possibly can. Now, the more the better. That those numbers, that's I'm going to show you those numbers in a minute. Tell that story. Now, the next step to winning it is to getting online credibility, to building online authority, to establish yourself as influential, is tell this story a lot. Well, how much is a lot? Well, in the case of my students, they were writing 3-4 articles per day. They did this for several months, so it's somewhere around 300, 400 articles. An article, you need 300, 400 articles in your archive before the search engines will recognize you, before people begin to think, well, this person's been around for a long time. You will remember, if I should, you see that this flat period going on here? Well, there's this long flat period before you climb out, before it starts to accelerate. This is probably 4 months long, 3, 4 months, 5 months sometimes. And 3, 4 articles a day for 300, 400 articles. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of work. But if you do that work, if you build that depth, if you establish that much of an archive of articles, out you will climb. So you need a certain amount, like not at the expense of quality, of course, but you need quantity in order to establish yourself as someone who's going to be on topic and write about these solutions and overcome these obstacles. You need a certain amount of quantity to climb out. And then there's a quality factor. Quality is getting your titles right, getting your images right, getting your captions right, getting your links right. And I've built a infographic for you. If you can't remember, that's okay. Just go back and watch this video, this webinar again. And there they are. I've stuck it up on the forum. You can read it. Just do these things and leave me alone, and you'll still get the results. But I recommend that you do it with other people so that you can establish that network. And I recommend that you do it in a framework where you can be held accountable, unless you're exceedingly well disciplined, then that's fine too. But it tells you how many words per post, how many posts you need to write, how long it takes to see results, how often you need to post, how many words to put in your title. Good grief. You have an idea how long it took me to learn this? How clever titles can be used, how many images to put in a post, how many links you need to put in a post, and then how often you need to post before you can see any results. I put these all there. You can go back and read it and look at it very slowly. The forum's free. There's no advertisements. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just made it available so I don't have to answer the same questions over and over again. But that's the quality factor. That's the quality factor. Do these things and you will have quality. It's a tangible, measurable parameter. This many characters in your title, this many words in your caption, kind of a thing. So I need to do a lot. I need to do it well, and I need to do it often. In this infographic, I tell you how often you need to do things. How often do I need to post? There's the answer. And then I need to stay with it. There's a longevity factor. If you don't do it for a certain period of time, you don't climb out of the sandbox. If you don't climb out of the sandbox period, people never find you. If people never find you, you never become influential. If you don't become influential, you don't see these things begin to take place in your life. So I realize I've talked a little bit fast here, but and that's okay because it's recorded and you go back and watch it. If you put your head down on your website, you can become an influential person. You can do it. Put a lot of stuff up there, put a lot of good stuff up there, put a lot of good stuff up there often, and put a lot of good stuff up there often until you climb out of the sandbox. Tell good stories for real people that solve real problems and overcome real obstacles, that help people fulfill real desires in real locations, and you'll become a very influential person. The last thing you need is you need an accountability, a way to keep yourself on task. Whether it's it's your mom, your husband, or your wife, your children, or an outside person, you need to have some sort of accountability structure. And the most powerful thing you can do is to put yourself in the context of other people who are doing the same thing alongside you, so that you have a network. And when you have that network, you have the ability, when it's relevant, to link to one another. And it's just exceedingly powerful. And I'm going to say within 5 or 6 months of hard work, and about a year, or at the most about a year's time, these things will be happening to you if you're willing to work. It's still work, but if you work, it'll work. But it's work. Does that make sense? If you work, it will work. But it's work. All right, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I wanted to respect your time. I told Sunil I'd be done in about 30 minutes, and that was 27 minutes.
Let's see, Bill, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Let's see if we get any questions here. I think it might show up here. So if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat box or raise your hand. And so just give a couple of seconds here for people raise their hands, or any questions are welcome.
Okay, so Melissa says, how are we supposed to keep developing that many real life stories from our experience? Okay, Melissa, that's a great question. People, ask me, how do I come up with so much thought? How do I come up with so many ideas? Well, if we go back to this, the storytelling. So you ask yourself, who are the people you serve? Well, if I can come up with a list of 10 different kinds of people, I can do it by age, I can do it by gender, I can do it by stages in life, I can do it by industry. I can think of lots of different kinds of people. I can do it for example, for influential, becoming influential, it might be authors, it might be CEOs, it might be baby boomers, it might be hobbyists. I got all sorts of different people who have some sort of a expertise. Well, all of these different kinds of people all want what? Well, they might want something. Here's 19 examples. These people say, well, I want to be a celebrity. Okay, the person, I desire to monetize my hobby. I desire to be paid to travel. I desire to become a consultant. So these are 19 different desires that these 5 or 6 or 10 different people have, but they cannot do it. Why? Well, they don't know how to come up with ideas, or they don't know how to put up a website, or they don't know how to where to get images. There's reasons that are getting in their way from fulfilling their desires, and I can solve those problems. So if I have 6 different people, 6 different kinds of people, and they have 12 different desires. I got 19, but then we'll go with 12. So if I have 6 different people who have 12 different desires, but there are 5 different obstacles getting in their way, and I can provide 10 different solutions, I now have 6 times 12 times 5 times 8 different variations of the very same story that I can tell. All of those which will be relevant to my website. And so I will never run out of stories that I can tell that will meet the needs of people who are reading or on my website. Does that make sense, Melissa? Okay, well, yeah, thanks for that. So yeah, I'll give you another really good tip. So in your industry, I'll bet in your industry there are conferences that you attend, or people who might read your blog or might come to your website attend. So there's going to be 3 or 4 there's going to be 3 or 4 conferences that there are going to be 3 or 4 conferences that people like to attend. Well, let's go visit that conference, even virtually. Look at it online, and say, is this a good conference? Is it a bad conference? Why is it good? Why is it bad? Start reviewing those conferences. Now let's go to the sessions that are offered in that conference, and let's say, look at the title of this conference, or the title of this session is in this conference. Well, that looks like a good session. It looks like a bad session. Now let's review the different sessions that might be offered in that conference. Now, how about those speakers? Let's go visit all their speaker sites, and let's start reviewing those speakers. Let's start reading their websites and find out what good tips they give or don't give. Oh my goodness, you see, there's all sorts of stuff that I could create and put on my website that establishes me as a person who's done their homework and has looked at these very carefully. And this is why you could trust me or not trust me. So there's plenty of places to go to get lots of good content for your website, I think.
Yeah. Great. I think we want to start doing our conclusion here, Bill.
Sure, that's fine. So, Melissa, I hope that answered your question. Again, we want to respect your time. We said we'd be done in about 40 minutes or so. So, I talked a little bit fast. There's lots of numbers. There's links and such. Just go back, watch the webinar. go visit the forum, and they're all there, whatever works for you. I want to give this back to Sunil, but before that, I want to say thank you very much for being here. Thanks for your time on a Saturday morning. We have another webinar coming up next week. Sunil will tell you about that, or you'll get an email about it. And then Sunil's going to do it next week, and then the week after that, I'm going to talk about another way to become an influencer, using social networks, for example. Okay, Sunil, back to you.
Yeah, and so I'm going to talk about how we can make this very real, because I know a lot of you have questions probably that you're probably formulating right now. I remember when I heard a webinar like this about 24 years, or a presentation, didn't have webinars back then. I had questions too, but I had to dialogue with someone like Bill or I to really formulate it and create a strategy and plan. Because you see, without a strategy or a plan, it becomes what I call bukaka. It's nonsensical. As some of you may already be thinking, well, it may occur like quite a lot of work to do 400 articles. But if you break it down into a plan, and we've seen this too, it actually can work for you, and it can actually start producing the results you really want.
Excuse me, Sunil, you might want to take your screen back.
Yeah, I will. I just want to give a
Sure.
introduction to that. So what we're going to do is to, I'm going to get my screen back here. Give me 1 second, okay? Okay. One of these. Meeting. Okay, share screen. Okay. Okay, so what we want to talk about is what we're going to offer today, which is a free consultation or strategy session. And this session, you want to apply for it as soon as possible, because we're already getting applications for these, and they're we're only going to take a limited number of them, just because of our time. We just don't have time to do all the sessions, but you need to apply for this, and there's a website to go to. And by the way, those of you who are interested in Bill's blog as well, this link will take you to that blog as well. But what I invite you to do as soon as possible is to get on this link, which is myvipss.com. And you'll see a form on that page that you can fill in. And it has some relevant questions about your objectives. And it'll probably get you thinking too, and get you more clarified, thinking about where you want to head to and what you may have to bump up against in order to get there. But more importantly, where, if you've been struggling with trying to get some influence, or you're trying to get off even just a launching pad in terms of your project or your blog or your business, then this is the right place for you. You certainly want to go to this site here and fill in the form. And in this session that we offer, the first thing you're going to get is some laser clarity on your objectives. Now, this is very important. An old Chinese saying said, if you don't know where you're going, be careful, you might get there. And that may not be the place you want to go, or it may be not clear. So, you want to get laser clear on your objectives. Some people are not very laser clear. So they're, when they share it with other people, or they share it in their blog, it doesn't land very powerfully. So you want to be very clear about your objectives. The session is with either Bill or me. The intention of the session is so you get a step-by-step plan to reach these objectives that you have, to handle the expected challenges that are inevitably going to come up, and then how to follow the plan and not go crazy and stay motivated. Because I know, like a lot of you, for myself too, when I first started in business, I had done many plans, but I either went crazy trying to follow it, or I lost motivation, and the loss of motivation was at some point where I didn't have clarity on a decision, and I needed to consult with somebody so I could really stay on track. So how do you get that? How do you create that structure? The stuff that we cover on that call. It's a 45-minute call. If you're local in the area, we can do it face-to-face. If you're nice to us, we'll do it face-to-face. And we're only, like I said, we're only taking a few of these applications. You have to be approved in the application. You have to fill out the application properly with details. You don't have to fill it out with one-word sentences that don't make any sense.
So how much does that cost for that 45 minute?
Wow, it's very expensive. It's actually like free. And it's free for right now. Okay. But we want to give people an opportunity for you to get to know how you can really make this work. It's not for everybody. It's for people who are very committed to producing results, who are ambitious perhaps, and really want to make something happen. Even if you're starting out, that's fine. We'll talk to you. Bill and I love working hard, but we especially love working hard for people who like working hard.
Absolutely.
That's big and joyous for you that you want to get, but you're struggling with. And we understand that struggle, and we want to help you. And that's why we're offering this. That's why I've been offering this for my own practice for years, because we want to give people an opportunity to really get a piece of clarity on what they need to do to become successful. So be sure to fill in the form. You want to apply today, like I said, as spaces are limited. We will respond to your forms within 48 business hours. And if you're approved, then we will contact you and set up a time. Okay. So again, that website is myvips.com. So myvips. SS stands for strategy session.com. So myvips.com. Make sure you fill in that form. And, again, if you have any other questions and stuff, we'll take them during the strategy session. And, I think that's pretty much it, Bill. Anything for you?
No, that's good. Again, it's a Saturday morning. Most of us still have the rest of the day to go. And
sure.
Today is my anniversary. I've been married 12 years. Woohoo! Yeah, and my wife says, get off there. We're going to go have cake and ice cream. Let's get out of here. So, no, seriously, it is I've got a wedding reception to go to. And after that, I've got a wedding anniversary that I'm going to go to. So I don't want to take any more Saturdays than I have to anyway. So.
I had no idea, Bill, but happy anniversary, man.
Yeah. Okay, you're stuck with my wife here, I'm telling you.
I'll talk to her later.
All right, so thank you guys for being here. See you online, see you in a phone call, see you in the forum. Sunil, thanks for setting this all up, and we'll see you again next week. Watch for the announcement for the next one.
Yep. See you guys. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you, John. Bye-bye.